Good Shabbos, everybody. Hine ma tovu manai sheverachim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manai sheverachim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manai sheverachim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Good Shabbos, everybody. Try it again. It was very subdued. Good Shabbos, everybody. It's nice to see you all this evening. Rabbi Jordan is actually probably traveling back in the car right now from vacation. I know he wishes you all Shabbat Shalom. So you're stuck with little old me this evening. The opportunity for us to get together on Erev Shabbat is such a wonderful thing. To take a moment, to break up the work week and put aside all the other stuff just for maybe an hour and a half to take this break. And so, to start with this break, let's all just do something really hokey and take in a deep breath and let it out. Oh, I saw some of you take really good ones. Let's try it again. If your shoulders got to go up to your ears, that's cool too. And as we do that, we acknowledge that some of us are here this evening for that break. Some of us are here this evening because they wish to pray for thanks, for luck, for family, for friends, for those that are in need of healing. Some of us are here this evening to remember a loved one who has passed away. And some of us are here because this is what we do every Friday night. So for whatever reason that you're here, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin on page 120 as I invite Linda Galler up to light the Shabbat candles. It's okay. We'll forgive you. We sing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Page 124, we read together at the top of the page. We entered this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. His presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into the sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We continue on page 130. Lechu niranena l'Adonai, Nari haletzor yishenu, Nekadma fana betoda, Bizmiro nari alo. Page 131. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Page 133. Mizmor Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, ki niflaot asa. A psalm, sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm, has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness toward the house of Israel. Toward all the ends of the earth, behold the victory of our God. We read together, raise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise. And we continue on page 138 as we sing the Khadodi. We will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising for the last verse and turning to the open doors of the sanctuary to welcome the Sabbath bride. Ya la 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 le Khadodi, ya la 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 le Krakala, ya la 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 Finite Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor v'riborecha, Ishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad. L'shem multiferet v'li'itila, Yalalai, yalalalai l'Khadodi, Yalalalai l'Krakala, Yalalalai Finite Shabbat, Finite Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat Lecho v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshava tehila, Yalalai, yalalalai l'Khadodi, Yalalalai l'Krakala, Yalalalai Finite Shabbat, Finite Shabbat nekabela, Hitoreri, Hiva Ore, Kumi Ori, Uri, Shirdaberi, Kivod Adonai, Alayek Nigla, Yalalai l'Khadodi, Yalla la 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 likra kala. Yalla la 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 b'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom. Ateret bala. Gam b'simcha. V'tzola. Tochemuneh. Am segula. Boi kala. Boi kala. Yalla la la Khadodi. Yalla la la kala. Yalla la la b'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. We continue as we transition into the Baruch Hu and the Shemanis blessings with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei techol Beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kari v'meru amen Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach le'alam ulal me'al maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha berichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'immeru amen. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai Amvorach Baruch Adonai Amvorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam va'ed Yalla lai 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 Am I awake? Am I prepared? Please be seated. We continue on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhma poteach she'arim uvitvuna meshane itim umachalif et hazmanim umesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil bein yom uvein layla Adonai Tzevaot Shemo El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Alenu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Ata Amcha Ata Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשופנו, קומנו נעשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Page 157, we read responsively at the top. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe that we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tequilo, osef ele. Nora tequilo, osef ele. Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et anabada, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam, berit olam, beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi'i shavat shavat vayinafash shavat shavat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam, beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam. Oti leolam. Oti leolam. We rise for the Amidah on page 164. We will sing the first psalm together and then pray silently until we reach page 180, where, once concluded, we all take our seats. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Ki ata o melech adon lekol hashalom. Ki ata o melech adon lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. So if you would all close your Sidurim, your prayer books for just a moment. At the beginning of the service, I said we would all get together here for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So if the rabbi's here and giving a full sermon, it's closer to the hour and a half side. But since I'm here, it's going to be closer to the hour side. I hope you can all appreciate that. That being said, I just want to take a couple of seconds and talk about this week's Torah portion. I know you're like, really, Torah portion? Yeah, I know. Happens every week, right? But this is interesting. It's the beginning of the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. Last week we concluded Vayikra, Leviticus, and Bamidbar. The title comes from the first sort of like main word in the Torah portion, in the book, if you will. And its literal meaning is in the desert, but the English version of it is Numbers, and it's because in this Torah portion there's a lot of counting. As a matter of fact, the Torah portion finds God telling Moses it's time to take a census, and there's specific ways that God tells Moses to do it, and you have to count them according to their tribe. But what I think is so interesting about this Torah portion is that our commentaries have sort of raised the question about this whole counting thing. Because, in modern times, especially nowadays, there's so much data out there on every single one of us that it's hard not to think of each one of us as somebody's number somewhere, right? There's entire multi-billion-dollar industries devoted to collecting numbers on you, ones and zeros on you. And of course, we know that in the Holocaust, every Jew was given a number, so much so that when I was growing up, Jay, I don't know if you remember this, in Hebrew Academy, they refused to call us by a number, right? And when my son went to school and I saw in his notebook that he was number 21, I shuddered a little bit, and I thought, you can't call my son a number, right? So the counting thing in Judaism has some very interesting and complex ideas in modern times, but also our ancient scholars questioned the whole idea of the census. What I think the primary issue is, and I think it's fascinating that it goes back that far ago, is that we have to be very careful of two things. Number one, lumping each one of us into a group where we don't count as much, and then also counting data and amassing data in such a way that it can be harmful. Of course, in the news, there's been a lot of counting, right? Unfortunately, lately, there's been a lot of counting of deaths, of gun violence. And I'm not here to talk about gun violence, but that's a number that we see. And I wonder, when we look at the number as opposed to the individual, does counting it maybe take away a little bit of our power to deal with it? On the other hand, when we talk about voting, and we talk about the number of people voting, counting that number is extraordinarily important, right? When we say, for example, in Georgia, and this is not a commentary, a political commentary on anything, but that the numbers are big, right? If we didn't count that, I think that would be doing us a disservice. So, as it relates to the Torah portion, Rashi ultimately concludes that it's the way that the counting was done that gives us some indication as to what might have been on God's, for lack of a better word, mind. That there is some prescription as to how it's to be counted. Not just, let's just count the number, but let's count every person and their tribe. Rashi says it's actually an indication of how much God loved us, that God would count each one of us according to this and that. And so that it wasn't just a number altogether, but this person was here and this person was there. And then also, my son, this is really weird, I'm really going left field like this, but my son he's a collector of Pokemon cards, right? And I'm a collector of baseball cards. And when I go and I count my baseball cards, it could just be enough that I count them once and put them in this pile and that pile, and I write the number down and I put them away, and if I ever want to look at it, I just look at the tally. But I don't. Because I really like them and I appreciate them, I take them out every once in a while, and I go, oh yeah, this is that one, and this is that one, and this is that one, and this is that one. And I think maybe, and this is my idea, but really the commentary's idea, they just didn't have any idea about baseball cards or my son's Pokemon cards, that when the census was being done, God might have been counting us in the same way that we might count something that we love. Sort of thumbing through, if you will, each individual person and saying, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So when we look at this, and we look at the Torah portion, and we look at the census, and then when we apply it to our lives, maybe when we're counting things, even if we're not counting things that we love, they don't simply just have to be a number, but there can be something else assigned to that, so that we don't lose the significance of all of these numbers, of all of these things that we might collect or order or try to grasp on a larger number. And that's my short Devar Torah for the evening. Shabbat Shalom. Speaking of counting, it's the Omer, Sfirat HaOmer, which is the counting of the Omer. And so tonight I'm going to ask you all to turn to page 570 in your Seder Reim. And the tradition is that we are not allowed to say the number of the day until we actually say the blessing. So I will tell you that last night was 48. And we say together, if you could read the Hebrew, Hinani muchan, oh, please rise. Hinani muchan umzman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat ha'omer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom tish'a v'arba'im yom shehem shiv'a shavuot la'omer. Today is the 49th day, which is 7 weeks of the Omer. Please be seated. As we open our service and spoke of all the reasons why we are here this evening, one of the things that we spoke of was to pray for those in our lives who are in need of healing. And as you turn to page 371, as we are about to sing Misha Berach and pray for their healing, we keep these names, these people in our hearts. Wayne Reisner, Helene Silverman, Larry Futterman, Marty Duke, Marty Barash, Gary Paul, Brian Berger, Chandler Jacobs, Dory Korn, Rita Jonas, Harriet Jacobs, Renee Fawn, Susan Abrams, Yael Bat David Vilea, Bev Mahone, Alan Friedman, Sarah Kahn, Lee Silverstein, Jill Van Teem, Eleanor Goodman, Yuli Makavos, Libby Routman, Laurel Phoenix, Marjorie Whitmore, Jerry Phillips, Claire Levin, Paul Kershon, Reva Fisher, Leslie Knight, Bert Singerman, Stephen Schiff, Mateo Velasquez, Max Jacobs, Kathy Waldner, Richard Zuspin, Christopher Denton, Phyllis Lapin. If there are any others that you'd wish to pray for, please, if you feel comfortable to do so, say their name out loud as my eyes pass over yours. We sing together in the middle of page 371. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha ve'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Visheberach imotenu Mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We rise as we turn to page 586 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'al, Ushchinatu zo begove meromim, hu Eloheinu enod. Vanachnu koreim umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. Please be seated. Page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This evening we remember Stephen Mittler, who was in the period of Shloshim. And remember those who have passed away at this time in seasons past. William Cohan, Myrna Hammerling, Arlene Kaiser, Ted Kopkin, Jim Lane, Muriel Merlin, George Orenstein, Nathan Schuler, Lenore Schindler, Edward Skyer, and Scott Sabin. If there are any others that you wish to remember, please say their names aloud if you feel comfortable as my eyes pass over yours. We turn to page 598 as we rise and together say the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kari v'yimru amen, Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ula'almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we together say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, V'yimeru amen. Our concluding song can be found on page 625. Please join me for Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzini Ra Le'et Nasa, B'chetz HaKol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. V'yacharei kitlo tako, leva'ado yimloch nora Adon Olam, vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh b'tifara Adon Olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nira le'et nasa, b'chetz HaKol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, Behu echad v'yein sheni, lehamshi lo le'achbira Adon Olam, beli reshit, beli tachlit, belo ha'oz v'hamisra Adon Olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nira le'et nasa, v'chetz HaKol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, Behu echad v'chai goali, v'tzurch evli ve'etzara Adon Olam, Behu nisi umanos li, menat kasi b'yom mekra Adon Olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nira le'et nasa, v'chetz HaKol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, Biyado akid ruchi, v'yedi sham v'ya'ira Adon Olam, v'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nira le'et nasa, v'chetz HaKol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam. Please be seated just for a few moments. So just to let you know of what's going on these next few days, tomorrow is the often forgotten and rarely attended holiday of Shavuot. Hint, hint. So if tomorrow evening at 7:30 you should find yourself in this area and you want to join us and Temple Emmanuel and Kehilat Chaim and Kol Emet and Beth Tikva for Shavuot service with all the assorted clergy, you should stop by. It'll be a nice service, about an hour long, like a real hour long, like an hour-long service. And then there'll be a break for some studying, and then lots of sweet dairy foods. And there's a reason for the dairy foods, but we won't go into it now. But if you're lactose intolerant, please don't have the dairy food, because they're studying afterwards. And that, yes, Sunday morning, there'll be the Shavuot Festival morning service and Yizkor. And Yizkor happens on the festivals, and this one will be over at Beth Tikva. The same synagogues will be joining in. Monday, there's Adult B'nai Mitzvah Hebrew, Sisterhood Book Club at 7:30. Wednesday, there is Tanakh study and a ritual committee meeting at 7:30 p.m. Thursday at 1, there's the Knit and Crochet group, and at 7:30, there's the Men's Club Cornhole League. Friday, 5:30, Tat Shabbat. 7:30 Kabbalat Shabbat service, and then Saturday, June 11th, there's the Shabbat morning service where we will be celebrating the bar mitzvah of Connor Sokol Rogers. Did I miss anything for this upcoming week? Yes, Pete.
What time tomorrow?
7:30.
Thank you.
7:30. It's on the website too, in case you forget between now and tomorrow. We've been making sure to thank folks who've been volunteering and helping out every week, and this week we're going to say thank you to some board members who are taking a well-deserved break. They are going off of the board, and want to thank Doug Katz, who is the VP of Facilities, Melanie Asher, VP of Finance, Lisa Danzig, the Sisterhood President, and by the way, Sisterhood donated these beautiful glass stained glass windows on the left and the right to match the earlier donated stone glass windows that they gave. And then Dan Rosen is the men's club president, so we thank them all. Before we do Kiddush and Motzi, it's also birthday Shabbat. It's where we goad you into telling us how old you are if you turned any age in the month of June. So do we have any June Shabbats? We do. June birthdays, sorry. We do. All right. Okay, 3. Okay, so you have to stand up and you have to tell us your birth date, but you don't have to tell us how old you are if you don't want to. And we will start over here with Debbie. So when's your birthday? 68, woo! Okay, let's see, we'll go back over here. You want to stand up and yell your name out loud.
I'll be 31.
Happy birthday.
Steve Shearer, and much to my surprise, on the 27th of this month, I will be 70.
Wow. Oof. Getting up there. And so we sing, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Did we skip anybody? No? We didn't skip anybody? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all y'all. Happy birthday to you. We continue on page 100, and I think it's 23, with the Erev Shabbat Kiddush. Please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim V'Shabbat kodshecha b'ava uvratzon hinchalatanu Baruch ata Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. L'chaim. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Adonai oz lamo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May Adonai grant strength to our people. May Adonai bless our people with peace. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for an oneg in the social hall.